You're listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, episode number 57 with Maggie, Mongan.
Hi, small business owners. Welcome to Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, where we focus on creating brilliant breakthroughs for the small business owner. And FYI, this is also the name of the #1 Amazon best-selling book for small business and entrepreneurship. The good news is you can find this book in paperback form as well as ebook form. So all you have to do is go to Amazon and type in Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. Fresh perspectives on profitability, people, productivity, and finding peace in your business. Now, here's some really cool news. We're going to do something a little different today, and I'll explain why in just a moment. The first book in this annual series came out in fall of 2017. And if you go to Amazon, you'll see that that is the blue one. So 2017's version was the blue one. And we thank you for making us a #1 bestseller. You guys rock. And that just showed us that we were spot on for the fact that small businesses need more assistance than what they're getting out in the marketplace now. So we're here to go ahead and change that, and we thank you. So for the first 56 episodes of this podcast series, we interviewed the 2017 author team. And now today, with this particular podcast, we are switching to our 2018 authoring team. The 2018 book will be released again on Amazon in November, mid-November of 2018. And the difference, now the title will be the same, but the difference is the color of the cover. 2018 is going to have an emerald green cover. And today's conversation is with an author from the 2018 book. So I want to say hello, rock stars. My name is Maggie Mongan, and I'm the creator of the Brilliant Breakthroughs annual business book series. And I'm blessed enough to be a #1 best-selling business author. I'm also a master business coach and trainer, and even known as the small business success influencer. So today, I'm going to share a little bit with you about the wisdom that's in our 2018 book. So I'm going to give you a quick chapter overview in my words, not the author's words, but in my words. And then more specifically, I'll share a little about the chapter I wrote for the 2018 book. So let's go ahead and have us dive into this. Now, as we have had it set up all along, and this will continue, we focus on the 4 performance pillars for small business success. And those are profitability, people, productivity, and finding peace in your business. Okay, that peacefulness part is really important, and I don't want anyone to overlook it. So again, we took our 8 authors for 2018. How do you like that? 8 in 2018. And we divided their topics into the 4 performance pillars. And we have 2 chapters under each performance pillar. So let's start with the first performance pillar, which is profitability. And our first chapter is titled The Inbound Pipeline to Success, and it's by Kelly E. Andrew. And what's really cool about Kelly's chapter is she helps us understand how inbound marketing is so much more than what small business owners often think their marketing needs to be, which is commonly social media posts and maybe an e-newsletter or something like that. So she starts to help us understand what the whole inbound marketing topic is and how it is effective and how to even do it correctly, which I absolutely love. And she emphasizes that this is how you do personal marketing, to your marketplace. And it's all about building solid relationships with your prospects and your customers. And Kelly walks us through, okay, we all know that marketing and building relationship used to be done one way, and that was so last century. And in the 21st century, our probable customers and customers want us to go ahead and build relationship with them. They don't want to be pitched to, they don't want to be sold to, they don't want to be broadcast to. They want to be feeling like you understand what's happening in their world and you can help them out. So she's going to go ahead and dissect the different steps of inbound marketing, as well as who you're addressing and then what it is they're thinking and how to best address them. It's a pretty cool chapter, and she has tons of definitions in there. So if you're sitting here saying, there's this whole marketing thing and I'm not getting it, Kelly's chapter is a great place for you to start. Now, chapter 2 is titled Higher Consciousness Creates Higher Profitability by Nancy Claremont Carr. And Nancy is, well, she's a little amazing in the fact that she's bringing small business into the 21st century by helping everybody remember some very fundamental things about who they are and how they function and what matters to them, and that we all have the ability to go ahead and move beyond the concept of to be successful, you need a lot of work and toil. And she walks us through some of this by bringing back some old techniques that are 100 plus years old that have helped people become very successful, to some of the top names in industries today that are implementing the technique and practices that she is referencing. And she wants small business to go ahead and get the same competitive advantage that others have. So she's going to be bringing forward some things that make you go, oh my gosh, it can be this simple. We can have balance. And I'm just going to let it at that and allow you to read it. Our second performance pillar is people. And man, we did something really cool. I have to tell you, the chapter is titled It's All Management 101. That's chapter 3. It's All Management 103. And it's by Clive Estes. And I I have to say, I'm really thrilled that Clive has decided to author with us, because Clive's background is pretty different from all the other authors we've had on our team so far and our community between 17 and year 18's book. And the reason is he is retired. But when he heard what we're up to and what we're doing, he decided to come out of retirement for a little bit. I made him work. Okay, I admit it. He says it, so I'm going to own it. And he said something really important. He said, there's so much in me yet that others can gain from. So I want you to look at Clive's chapter very differently, and it's written differently than all the others, because he does walk you through Management 101, and it helps you understand some really elementary things when working with your team, whether it's an internal or an external team. And that means whether you have an in-house team with employees or if you're delegating or outsourcing, it doesn't matter. And Clive's background is he's been in management for over 30 years, and he's been teaching adults for, if I remember correctly, 20 some years. He's practical. He gives us tactical things to think about, and he even gives examples and stories. He's the real deal. This is a legacy chapter for him. Take him up on this, because I've heard him say this. He is a mentor of mine, and he's in this book for a reason. I guess that's all I want to say. You'll love his chapter. It's so different. Chapter 4 is titled 5 Ways to Bring Compassion into Your Organization, and that's by Susan McCustian. And Susan McCustian is a specialist in diversity and inclusion. It's also known as D&I. And if she starts out right out of the gate saying, man, if you think that cultural diversity and inclusion is a topic for corporations and not small business, wrong all day long. And she explains in her chapter, she's going to break some myths as to what diversity is and isn't. And she's going to tell us how we are actually harming ourselves by not addressing this, even as small business owners. It's pretty revealing. She makes me think about some things that I've known, and that's why I really appreciate her chapter, because it's getting me to understand the topic differently, because I wasn't as aware as I thought I was on this topic. And I'm laying money on it. You're going to find out that's your truth too. So I would love for you to read this, because it does impact your business. It impacts everything that you do. After all, you are a people, and anyone that you talk with, even if you only think about this and apply it to your customers, you're going to be like, wow. So you will like this, because she's going to tell you something that you won't like, which is we are no better off on this whole topic than we were in the 60s. And then she's going to give you some really great approaches as to how to start implementing it into your world. So those are 2 chapters on people. Our next performance pillar, number 3, is productivity. And chapter 5 has a title that is Spotlighting Yourself as an Undeniable Expert in Your Industry. And it's by Becky Norwood. Becky is an extraordinary publisher. She's a #1 best-selling author internationally, and she helps small business owners and entrepreneurs decide how to position themselves in the marketplace as an undeniable expert with the proper publishing of a book, how to market it properly, how to amplify your visibility through that, as well as generate more customers, more opportunities to get you in front of more people. The visibility is just phenomenal, but she breaks it down. And she breaks it down for the small business owner, which I absolutely love. You will like this, because she's going to show you how to get your foot in the door when you read her chapter. Chapter number 6 is titled Business is Addicted to Busyness, Not Success, Improving Upon Decades of Failure. And that is my chapter. And I'm going to come back and talk about that in a little bit. I would rather share the other 2 chapters with you first. The 4th performance pillar is peacefulness, and chapter 7 is the first chapter in that. And the title is Discovering Your Business's True North. And I like that, because when I'm working with clients, so often they don't know what their true north is and what they're trying to manifest for a business concept, and then the business model, and then how to build it so it's a profitable and simplified business model that will deliver results of profit and peace. And our author is Mike Raber. Now, Mike is a repeat author. He was in 2017 as well, so don't be surprised when you hear his voice again. But I have to tell you, his chapter is pretty fascinating to me, and it always makes me smile, because he starts off sharing a story with how he became an entrepreneur or studied and practiced entrepreneur techniques for a fundraiser when he was in 7th grade. That to me is just absolutely mind-blowing. And he's going to walk you through how he started studying about what business is and isn't and how to be successful at it, and hear how, what is it, about 40 years later, Mike has still been studying business success and from the greats, and he is going to share with you six very simple but often overlooked business lessons of those who deliver the success. And because of that, they're able to live a very different life than many other people who don't practice those six lessons. Pretty cool. And I'm going to let you read the chapter and come to your own conclusion. But you'll be hearing Mike again throughout this next year. And then chapter 8 is titled, Are You Willing to Be Successful? And that's by Susan White. And yes, Susan White sounds familiar to you because she also is an author from our 2017 book. And Susan takes us down a little different journey because she has us looking at really what is success. And even though most small business owners want to be successful, it's like, are you willing to do what it takes? And do you really know what your definition of success is? And she explores this through 4 practicing experts, talking about their perceptions of success versus the reality of success. And she debunks that the myth of money equals success, because it doesn't. And she helps us identify what we define as success. And she starts to take us there. And it's your job, of course, to go ahead and continue that quest. And I think you'll really appreciate how Susan has done that, because it's absolutely phenomenal. And she, I guess the best way to say that is she opens up the proverbial can of worms for you to play around with this, but to get a good handle on it. Okay, so now here's something fun. I want to share a little bit about my chapter. As you know, we discuss in each podcast with a different author each week what is important to know about their expertise, what they're finding out in their marketplace, what their customers are saying, some tips, some tricks, and wisdom sharing. And today we're going to start with me, since you have me doing the bridge between 2017's team and 2018's team. So my chapter is chapter number 6, and it's under the productivity performance pillar. It's titled Business is, excuse me, let me try that again. Business is addicted to busyness, not success. And the subtitle is Improving Upon Decades of Failure. So here's the deal. There are so many small business owners that are struggling with productivity. And it doesn't matter what industry they're in. It doesn't matter if they're going to be launching a business, or if they've been in business for 10, 15, 20 years and extremely successful. The key is always productivity, because so many people say, we're battling time. I don't like that, because I would rather work with time than battle time, which is one of the things I talk about in the chapter. I debunk the time management myth. Time management doesn't exist. I've said this before. I think I've even said it on the podcast. I blog about it often, probably once a quarter, and I have about 1,000 blog posts out there. So that means I'm blogging about it. And if you're saying right now, well, if time management doesn't exist, Maggie, what does? I'm going to tell you very simply, it's productivity management. You have to manage your productivity level, because there's 24 hours in a day. We all get 24 hours. We don't get, some of us get 23 hours and 59 minutes, and some of us get 24 hours and 1 minute. We all get 24 hours, period. And what happens in those 24 hours is up to us. Now, are there things that are freaky and out of our control? Yes, all day long. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you being aware of how you're spending your time. So when we start talking about productivity, I think productivity is one of the epic failures in the first quarter of the 21st century. Um, and why I say that is we're still dragging a lot of our old habits, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. We're still dragging them from last century into this century. And you know what? Right now, as this is being created, it's fall of 2018. That means that in 7 years, it's going to be the first quarter of our century will be complete. Are we going to get a handle on this busyness thing and this productivity thing in the next 7 years? No. May we get better at it? Sure. Is it something that we individually have to take on and decide if we want to go through the process to improve our performance? Yes. Yes. But today we are caught as a society and definitely as small business owners in what I have dubbed the busyness trap. We are snagged there all day long. We don't even know what really is important anymore. And I have a lot of small business owners come to me, especially women, who are struggling with everything being urgent and important, and it's not. But until they understand, and that's all for all of us, until we understand what is important and what we're trying to make happen, we are confused as to what we ought to be working on. So in this chapter, I did something really cool because every small business owner's goals depend upon this. First thing I did was I talked about the fact that there is confusion as to what productivity is and isn't. And I actually defined that productivity, effectiveness, and efficiency in the chapter and help you understand and get that your right thoughts can help you create the right actions. Because a lot of times we are confusing the terms of productivity, effectiveness, and efficiency. And I'll just let it at that because it's crystal clear when you read the chapter. The other thing that I talk about in the chapter is the law of diminishing returns, and that you're probably applying the law of diminishing returns when you don't want to be, which may be more often than not. And then another thing that I talk about is discovering the benefits of productive breaks. And I've been blogging about productive breaks for a long time. It is very important for us to understand how to revitalize ourselves during our breaks. And I have a great quote in there from somebody that I interviewed that's an expert in that. So I think you'll appreciate that. The other thing is I dove into distractions, and I have some stats in there about how distractions is killing your success. And some of the statistics of what distractions are doing is mind-boggling, especially when you see the statistic about what you're doing to yourself on this topic. I'm like, wow. And have shared it with a few friends, and they're like, yeah, I see that as a truth. So that will be something for you to explore for yourself. And then I wrap up the chapter by talking about tech and how tech has provided us an enormous opportunity. And it's provided us this opportunity for us to be much more productive, but it's also bogged us down. And I'm not talking about watching the cat videos when you should be doing social media. That's a human behavior and about being undisciplined. What I'm talking about is how there is some really cool tech tools out there. Not all of them are great, but some are. And instead of us mastering them, they're mastering us. And I remember hearing like in the 70s how, oh, the computer is coming and the computer is going to give us such leisure time and the computer is absolutely wonderful. It will become our best friend. And wow, the computer, as they said back then, is wonderful. And it has created us endless opportunities that we had not had prior. However, a lot of the tech that has been created hasn't helped us live more effectively and efficiently. It's just loaded more on. I don't have more leisure time like they promised us we would have when the computer came along. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but do you have more leisure time? Probably not. But that's what this is all about. And this is why I specialize in helping small business owners simplify. If you can simplify your strategies and your techniques, you can simplify your actions. And when you do that, you get to simplify your business and your life, and you'll have a chance to live more of your life and live into your life's passion. Because if you're like most small business owners, that's why you started your business, so you could serve humanity and do some really cool stuff with the monies that you generate from your profit. So I want to tell you that if you work on effective productivity, you can generate much more peace in your life and more profit for your business. So I want you to know that there's some really cool stuff in this chapter, and I did it because everybody's clamoring for it right now. We are definitely at a time in history where we're trying to figure out how to use tech best and how to be most productive. Because, man, we are addicted to busyness, and we need to shift being addicted to busyness to being addicted to success. So that's what my chapter's about in 2018's book. That's what you're going to hear me talking about for the next year, are things like what I just shared today. I'm thrilled to be talking to you about that. And I want you to know that if you want to engage more with me, that's Maggie Mongan, #1 best-selling author, start by reading chapter 6 in 2018's book. And at the end of that chapter, you will see an invitation on my author's page. I would like for you to go ahead and take advantage of that. And on the business page, right after that author page, you'll see there's all my social media handles. Connect with me. And if you want to focus on simplifying your business success, check out my blog. It's on my website. You will be blown away with what is there. Also, here's something really cool. You may or may not be listening to this podcast on our book series business app. We have an app, a mobile app dedicated to the book series as well as the authoring teams. And you can get a hold of that by going to Brilliant Biz Book, all one word, Brilliant Biz Book, at your app store. Download that for free. You'll be able to see all of our authors, 2017, 2018. Well, we're still building up 2018, if I remember correctly, as this will be published. But it'll be there by November of 2018. And you can see our blogs, our podcasts, any events that we're holding. There's all sorts of goods there. And there's a really cool topic for you. If you scroll, you can see that there is a page called Click and Ask an Expert. And you'll see my name come up, Maggie Mongan. Go ahead and click on my name if you have a question for me regarding anything in the chapter or any question you have overall for business. That is a great way to get a hold of me. You type in your question, and I promise I will respond back to you. So for now, small business rock stars, I want to say thank you for your time and allowing me to share what you're going to be hearing about in the next year. what Chapter 6 is about in 2018. And we appreciate you listening to us. This is your Brilliant Breakthroughs podcast, and it's where you learn how to create more brilliant breakthroughs for your small business. So until next week, where you're hearing our first 2018 author, I want to say have fun and shine brightly.